Good morning. Welcome to the Java Cafe.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Monday, February 17th, 2025, and we are here in the Java Cafe. It is a Monday. It is Mental Health Monday. And in that vein today, some of you may have observed and seen that we are dedicating today's show to Leroy Peeples. It's been a very interesting few days. I just was with Bum on last Wednesday evening, 36 to 48 hours before getting the notice. And in the vein of Mental Health Monday, many in our community are grieving. Many are mourning. Many are in shock. And it's been interesting. First of all, I have to, before we dedicate the rest of this time to Brother Bum, I wanted to also name that there were 3 other transitions and those who are now our ancestors who are from community. And those are Mr. Bob Terrell, who was a housing advocate working in the city of Boston and a mentor to many. There was also Fletcher Flash Wiley, father of Pratt Wiley. And if there are other siblings, and I don't know if there was a spouse, and excuse me, but Jess Merrill, who is a friend of mine, I checked in with her and asked, she's a friend of Pratt's, and asked if that was his dad. And so to the Wiley family, and also very interesting for many in our community and a lot of brothers, Reginald St. Bryce. I believe his service was on Friday. And in the midst of many in community knowing and celebrating his life, there were many that were duly impacted by the information community being made aware of Leroy's death. And so I will be very transparent. It's been hard. I have determined within myself that I'm going to do my best today to hold space for Bum. The interesting thing is that when there were times in our community when this space was needed, he was the one that I would consult with and say, hey, Bum, I'm seeing some stuff on social media. Do you think I need to go live, especially during the pandemic and in 21? There were a couple of times where he reached out and said, yo, Jimmy, this such and such you see, I'm sure you might want to. It was more frequent of me asking him just by observation. He was busy doing the work. In that vein of him doing the work, he is well known in this community for check on your people. Leroy Peeples, check on your people. I want to back up and say and honor his immediate family. To Kim, to Jace, to Dante, his son only one that I know, and also to Leroy the third. Thank you for sharing your husband and your father with our community. We appreciate you. Then, for those of you that know Bum, there was 4. And that's really all I have to say about the pride and joy among many of his life. Was 4. And 4 is who, if I hear of anything dedicated to Bum, is where I personally will put my resources and influence to support SOAR. And so to his family, thank you. Thank you for your understanding that while you all are grieving, many in the community, well-intended, did mourn in a manner that was very public. This is James saying this, and I'll even say for me, we apologize for that if there is any offense, but knowing him and you all influenced by him and his character and his approach toward life, see and understand that his impact was great, but we have to acknowledge his family and give them the space, the privacy that they need during this time. Who was, for many of you that may not know, who was Leroy Peeples? I'm going to speak from my own personal experience. I don't remember when I met him, but from, I believe it was seeing posts about this PIM, and I want to do it justice and cite it correctly. And then I started, and I'm keeping my phone on because I'm anticipating we are going to open the phone lines shortly and allow those that may want to call in about to do so. Let me just find his page. So I started hearing about him in PIM, and that's his featured. It is the Prevention Intervention Mediation Project. Prevention Intervention Mediation. That's what he did. That was his life. Shout out to brother Jamal, who is over on Instagram. Prayers and support with you. There are many colleagues, street workers, SOAR workers, safe streets, StreetSafe, that are impacted and that in their own way carry the legacy of this man. But I remember seeing him present on social media, and somewhere along the line, I went back in my inbox on Facebook and text, and about 10 years ago, the first inbox was Leroy Peeples and his phone number. More than likely, I saw him at an event upon returning to Boston. And from that moment, his consistency in messaging, his consistency in the priority of young people who were dealing with issues of trying to avoid violence, maybe not successful in avoiding it, and then needed intervention. That's what he did. And from, I believe, his career path went somewhat in this order. Now, let's just name, Bum was effective with Brothers in the Street because Bum had swag. There's a video that was recently posted around his time with Source magazine. Bum was effective in what he did because he knew and was in an environment that made his authenticity in this space very real. And so that was his production. I think he did something with, again, the Source magazine. I don't know what his role was, but hearing about him and little things and just talking to him and stories and whatnot, Bum was like part of Brains with the Source. In the video, you see he has papers up on the wall and notes and stuff, and the folks slept on Bum in some respect. And so his consistency in the space of youth work. We're Wedlocked and Loaded. Shout out to brother DL. Let me know that he was the president of the Source magazine. So Brains, absolutely. And he then transitioned into a space where he changed his impact. And my familiarity more than likely was around the transition from when StreetSafe folded into BCYF Street Workers. And that's when I really got to know him. That was about 10 years ago. in the last 7 or 8 years, I can unequivocally say 95% of any of the advocacy, y'all remember back in the day, I used to fuss and cuss. There was much of nothing that I would suggest to the Walsh administration and now the Wu administration that I did not run by Bum. He and I checked in often, and believed in what is the what some call inside outside game. And the fact when I would run things by him and he would affirm, I was like, okay, if Bum is, then something I'm thinking has to be right. This man knew those that he served. So with that being said, today we are Jeff, my guy, and Lord Jesus T from I'm trying to I got a lot going on. There's a whole production because I want this to be excellent for his family and for community as well. Again, he was the one that I would check in with and say, hey, do we need to hold space? But I didn't want to overstep. But we had decided, and we heard about this, that we weren't supposed to be live today. But we had to hold this space for this young man. And so consistency and knew those that he served. And so with that being said, I would like to share with you, and we are going to take phone calls in a few minutes, but in that vein, I'm going to go in the comments and just check in. Our good sister, Miss Janky, is in the building, who was a friend of Brother Bum's. Also, Michelle D. Smith. Oh, Jesus. I will check in, Michelle. Let's circle back about that. Also, Dana Cromwell, good brother, and Tamika, good to see you all in, or whoever tagged them. Dana, I saw your post, and if you're listening, I have some pictures. You're not right next to Bum from the event, and we're going to play that video as well. Michelle D. Smith, there you go. Saddened by the passing of Fletcher Wiley and the positive and significant impact of Leroy Peeples Jr. May the perfect peace of God embrace and comfort all for their loved ones. Feel free, you all, at any time to share comments. I see praying hands. I see love. T says that man needs a plaque or statue. I will tell you that I already had one phone call from someone from community, not from the family, from someone from community that is bringing that same energy, T, about plaque, building something. His impact was great and it was wide. Okay. Pam, BCYF family, the BCYF family, Jamal and many others that, and some of you guys names, may not understand on social media. But we see Kanisha, in the building as well. Ma talked about Pop Warner. So I have to share, there was my own personal connection. And then I found out that he was my nephew's coach. He called them, any young people that he worked with, he called them his Mighty Mites. I believe that was the name. Bum was a Pop Warner coach. So he did it at so many levels. And so I want to, again, do my best to honor him with as superb production as we can today. And I will now share with you, he appeared on Java with Jimmy twice. I had in my mind to always check in with him and have him check in before this summer. As much as numbers have changed, the last time, Naisha, good to see you in the room. We definitely got to set our date. Excuse me, Jamal Wernham, Bum was one of one, different level of energy. Always contacted me in pain and need through all my losses. Peaches Nichols, who is his cousin, says he will truly be missed. Such a great impact on the community. Jermaine Griffin, who I believe worked with him. I seen your post, sir. Good to see you. We need a committee or team to continue his work. I also saw a reference made by Brother Wavy Damon. that, someone needs to pick up the hashtag check on your people. He was able and had not only from his street knowledge and access, but I worked at the city where he did as well. And his position allowed him access to what is called full notification. And along with Stackle, there was conversation with others this week that Bum was on some Stackle status. And if you're on Twitter and follow Stackle, the mayor herself, sometimes before she can get in touch with the police commissioner, he would check out Stackle. Bum is on that level in alerting us and telling us to check on your people. On two levels. One, that is important, but much more importantly, and I had this thought last night, who in the administration and in this space is going to fill the gap that is left? And understand and hear me, this man was more than who his work was. Again, a husband, a father, a grandfather, undisclosed locations, a grill master, and the interesting thing is the algorithms still have his post from a couple of weeks ago that still come up in my news feed. And over the past few days, I've seen the posts. Some of you have seen it and shared it. He talked about self-care and living life. Bum was in a space just by observation on his social media where he was resting. And even before we seen that the last couple of weeks, you all would see the pictures, undisclosed location with burgers and a picture of a grill, a couple of beers or something. And many have posted the fellowship and the spaces that he created. And so I want to try to stay as focused as I can. And Charmaine, I just mentioned for Friday, along with everybody else in the adults in his family. And if you're a parent and understand toddlers in this space, or keep all of his family in prayer, but specifically those of you, and if you understand child psychology and know what specifically to pray for that young man who he loved, to Charmaine's point. Combo of being real, give myself a little break. And also, I just wanted to share his consistency. The first thing I'm going to share is from 2021. And at the end of this dedication, I'm going to play the entire episode from his appearance when we talked about black men. 2020 for me, from 2015 all the way through. And even Wednesday night, while we were at Grace by Nia, and I need to share something with you all about him. Wednesday, we were out and love overdose was the theme. And I introduced, I was with Thaddeus and I introduced, we were at Nia's table and I introduced Bum to Nia. So at first I said, this is Bum. You know, she looked, couldn't figure out, or she gave me the look. Then I said, this is Leroy Peeples. She still gave me the look. Didn't know kind of the correlation. Then something said, check on your people. Oh my God. So honored to meet you and and appreciate your work. This man had impact that was far reaching from generations. Before I get to this post or this video, I will also share that I got a phone call and I can't go into detail because of the space. But what they said was that they will need to go into work today. And there are some young men that Bum's work reaches back 10, 15 years. For whatever reason, they are not free. And he still kept in contact with them. And what the phone call was to talk and cite the impact that though they were now incarcerated, he still kept relationships and looked out for them inside and out. We're going to share this video. I'm trying to pay attention to the comments, everyone. Please don't feel disregarded if I don't get to all of the comments. Tamika Copeland says, he was one of the first at the hospital when my son passed. Prayers for the family extended. Asia, thank you. Miss Teresa says, it says so much about the character of an individual when you need multiple people to. Miss Teresa, I'm not going to go there. We're going to play the video.
Yep, you're good.
We had a little technical difficulty that day with Bum's setup, but the
Can
point
you hear me, James?
will be.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So all right. So SOAR Boston is tasked with 24 outreach engagement coordinators, formerly known as street workers, with building deep, authentic relationships with gang-involved youth and young adults. With 46 of the most active gangs around the city, we deploy each OEC to a specific area in the city to immerse themselves in the fabric of the community by actively fostering relationships while developing trust and rapport with those that we serve. So that being said, it's basically we're deploying our team right into the heart of the city where the most active action is happening to try to really build relationships with those young people in that community to really offer them services and create opportunities to give them a different outlook, a different way of moving how they move. If they're just on one track and no one's, providing them with anything else to look at, it's very easy for them to fail. And to your first question, when you was asking about 25 to 32, that's a weird age range. They're to me, in my personal opinion, they're still struggling with trying to figure out how to escape as well. So you can imagine people younger than that. So 25 to 32, what I'm seeing and what we're seeing is they still haven't figured out how to get out themselves. So that's why it's very important to service them and not just be confined to 16 to 24. When you put age restrictions on you really hurt our people because, after 24, are you saying that they figured it out? That's just not fair and it's not true.
I wanted to ensure that we shared these clips as a reminder, because to Miss Teresa's point, of course, the personal, his wife, his children, and 4 are the most impacted. But they knew, and I'm sure Kim, the late nights of the text and going out to scenes, and Tamika referred to being one of the first at the hospital. When my nephew got shot, he was on the phone checking. Couple of times, couple of nephews, one fatally, and another still with us. And Bum was there. So that is one example of his informed knowledge base and the impact that he had in community. The other thing I wanted to do is share a video with you all in 2019. And this is the video, Dana, if you're watching, this is the event to which you referred in your post about being awarded the Chance and Change Award that Bum received in 2019. I, along with Dana, Marvin Vinay, and quite a few others, received this award from gubernatorial candidate. The guy that gave out the award was running for governor and also an author. And Bum received that award. And so I'm going to play that clip right now as well. And then in a few moments, we're going to open the phone lines and we're going to take calls from those that may want to say something dedicated to Bum, Leroy, in respect, but Bum affectionately. And so here he is receiving his award in 2019. Please excuse the audio. It was 6 years ago. And I think Mama Java is in the room. We have to find moments of joy and smiles in this space. And you can hear my mother in the background running her mouth a little bit. I love you, Ma.
Those are just a few terms to describe him. With 6 years of professional involvement with the StreetSafe Boston Initiative, a youth violence prevention program, he has logged nearly 10,000 contacts and engagement hours with youth involved in street gangs and urban violence. In addition to his professional role, he is the founder and executive director of the Prevention, Intervention, and Mediation Project, more commonly known as PIN Project, a recognized 501c3. This brother is making it happen, and we don't really even know the depths of what he's doing to change gang violence and youth impact in the city of Boston.
That was Bum. At that time in 2019, he clocked more than 10,000 hours of youth service time. Again, to Kim and his children, thank you. We again are going to open the phone lines. There is another personal connection that I have that my godson was in the process of intake with Bum. And I'm going to call his mom now and ask her to just speak to the impact and connection he made with him. Now, we are doing this in real time, you all. I'm not a professional here.
Oh.
Nika.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm getting through this. I wanted to check in with you because I saw your post, I saw your text, and I wanted to, we're going to open the phone lines, but I specifically wanted to call you because of our personal connection to, you know, me being familiar with my guy, Keyshawn, and Bum made a connection, and you had, from your post, had expressed the level of exhale about keeping Keyshawn, you know, on the path that you have him directed. Bum was going to be also a guardrail there. Can you just talk to, you know, the impact that you, and before Keyshawn, you, because of what you do, you saw that, anything that you would like to say specifically in general, and then also specifically the impact he had on Keyshawn?
Yes. Well, first, I just want to start by sending my condolences to his family, his wife, his children, his grandchildren. I didn't know him personally like that. I've always heard the name, but I didn't have like a connection with him until most recently when we connected through my teenage son who was having some behavioral challenges in school. And it led to him facing a long-term suspension. And Bum reached out to me because he was saying, there's a reason why this kid responded in the manner that he did, which I don't want to really put that piece out there like that, but Bum knew exactly what it was. And he's saying, it's the reason why this kid responded the way he did. And we need to figure out what this child, you know, like what support can be put in place for this child, because he has potential. And he was looking at it and he said, you know, I pulled up his grades and I'm looking at his grades. This is a kid who's earning A's and B's, you know, a couple of C's. But he said, for the most part, this shows potential. And we need to find out what this kid likes, because we need to get ahead of the game. Even when it came through for like the suspension hearing piece, he was facing long term, 21 days, and he reached out and whatever, I don't know exactly what he did, but whatever he did, they came back and they said, okay, we're gonna limit that and we're gonna just do 13 days instead of doing the 21 days. So the impact that I have with interacting with this man within this short time was just like amazing, because he pulled my son to the side. He said, you know, we had a conversation. He has some valid points. He has some deep issues that he's dealing with. And this is a kid who don't really open up to people. It takes a lot to build that rapport. And when he sat with Bum, which I'll call him Leroy, actually, because that's how I knew him through BPS school. But when he sat with him, this kid began to start pouring out. And he just opened up. And that meant so much to me, because having a 13-year-old who wants to actually hit the streets, right? Because I don't let him hit the streets. I do so much protecting and shielding of him. But having a kid who's influenced by social media, who deal with a lot of impulse, it was a concern for me, because I'm saying we have trauma history. We've dealt with a lot of death. We've dealt with family members who were murdered. We've dealt with just death in general. So the trauma behind all of that, and what
and he was there for a lot of them, Nika. If you remember, what you may not recognize or remember, but he pulled up on DeWolf for Sean and Disco, and even had and checked in around Amin as well. And you know, we've had more in our family, but he was present even in that.
So
space.
That's what he told me. What he said was the name. He said that name Winston. He said it's out to me. He said, and I know it's not too many of Winston. So he reached out to my niece and said, I want to connect with her because I know she must be related to you. So that's exactly what he said. He said, I know your entire family. So that was just another, powerful piece for me, that it's not too many people I felt like I can reach out to. And even when I have reached out to people with help and support for my son, I feel like I didn't get what I actually needed. And for this man to recognize our last name and say, I want to help, how do we get him started, was everything for me. And just last week, I sat in the hearing for my son, because I'm advocating and I'm fighting hard, and I'm like, I got to get him into a new school. I got to get him out of this school even. It's just not going well. And when we got finished with that meeting, at the end, Zach Solis, I guess he's the operational leader of BPS, that was the first thing he said was, we're going to connect this kid. Soon as vacation's over, we'll have him come back, and he's going to check in with Leroy. And then he had two other point persons as well that this kid will check in with. But just him, just reaching out was everything, because I was at my wit's ends, and I'm saying, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. What do I do? I help so many kids in the community. I've brought them into my home, and I've gotten kids through a lot of things. High school, just jobs in the community. I work, with children in the high school. And I'm saying, I felt so alone in this moment when it comes to this 13-year-old. And I know this generation of kids, they're a little bit different. So I'm saying, I need help. I never felt like I needed that much help before. And he just stepped in and said, I got you. And he said, no matter how much it costs, we got to find out what this kid needs, and we're going to make it happen. And I'm sad, because I'm saying, where do I go from here now? We just got where I was trying to get, and then I got this word on Friday, and I was devastated. So Nika, I don't know.
It goes to the point, and I want to thank you because you did start off, and for the family, they are priority. You started off with that, and I keep honoring them, because someone of his stature and his impact, tell Nico I said hi, someone of his stature and his impact in community, they inadvertently had to share him. And so there's the personal impact that you started with naming, but then also I believe that they see, and that's one of the reasons we're dedicating this Mental Health Monday, which we'll get into, I'm going to get into later after I let you go. But that impact is far reaching. Nikki, your niece, is on Instagram, and she said he called instantly for Keyshawn. She said he has always been there and reached out to me, to referring to the own tragedies that we've had in our family. And so, Nika, I
Mhm.
want to thank you. I want to let you get back to Nico, but thank you for calling in. I actually have to call someone who's on a different, in a different time zone, and get them on to pay
Okay.
honor and
I
respect.
just want to say one last
Yes,
thing,
please.
though.
Go ahead.
We need these men to come for our babies. We are moms and we're out here and we're trying, but we can't do it all. And we need these men to show up the way they got some big shoes to fill, because we need them to show up to help us get our kids out these streets. Mine didn't hit the streets yet, but if I let loose, I feel like he will. So I don't know how many other moms are feeling how I feel. I haven't really voiced it so much because everyone knows me as, oh, she's strong and she's this and she's that. But no, I needed help with my son. I needed help, and I need him to see men showing up in powerful ways that's just going to continue to encourage him to know he can do the right thing too. He
Nika,
just needs that additional support.
One of those men that are additional support, Jamal, is on Instagram and said, "Love you, Nika."
And Jamal is everything. Jamal is another lifesaver. Like that's my son's mentor. He's been there from the beginning of time. So I appreciate you, Jamal, for that as well.
And Nika, can you just say it again and clarify when you said that there are big shoes to fill? That is that gap.
They have big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
We need them to step out here. Y'all got to grab our sons. It takes a village. We grew up. It takes a village. I grew up in the project. And at the end of the day, everybody cares for everybody's kids. We got to come off of this. That's not my kid. Or that kid's too bad. Or that children are doing things for a reason. And we have to find out the reason why they're doing it. And then how do we move forward and help them get beyond that reason that they feel they need to do whatever it is that they're doing that does not sit well with our community and our society. But these kids are out here. They need help. That's all I can say. They need help. And my son was one of them. He still needs the help because we're not there yet. He's starting a new school starting next Monday. But I got to get him through the next 4 years of high school. And I don't know how to get him through a BPS school because it is treacherous.
Nika, I understand, but you going to remember that me and you ain't on the phone right now.
Okay. It is what it is.
No. I know.
It is what it is. Leroy, but that's what Leroy did. He stood on it.
Big shoes to fill.
He stood on that.
Yep.
Yes. He stood on that. And he was honest. And that's why I said that authenticity is just there. He was honest about what it was. And that's what he told them. He said, kids that's in the street, they don't get these grades. So you have potential. You're not that kid. You want to be that kid, but you're not that kid. So I don't mean to offend anyone. Please, I don't.
Yes, ma'am.
But I'm telling you, I got to get my baby through the next 4 years of high school. And I need the support that I need. So I appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate everyone.
That is all said in the vein of the fact that you had just got to a point because he was assigned to Leroy. And so we can't let that be forgotten in the real experience that you're having raising this Black king. And so, did he get a cell phone back? Can I hit him directly? Well, anyway, Nika, I love you. And we're going to go ahead.
Thank you.
And
have a good evening.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Folks, I wanted to, and again, I will name that where there are opportunities to have a smile, we will need to have that. But that is a parent, one of many that can speak to. And so I wanted to, that was a parent. And additionally, I want to allow a colleague of Bums to speak to us as well. And so I am in the process of calling one of his colleagues, and I'm just making sure I'm going to call the right number. Okay, there we go. Again, you all, we are doing this in real time. I am going to open up the lines in just a couple of seconds, and we'll put the number up if people would like to call in. And again, this person is in a different time zone, so I think we got him.
Good morning, Sean Brown.
Sean, how are you, sir? Can you hear me?
Oh, I didn't recognize the number. Jay, what's going on, man?
I texted you and told you it was going to be a 999 number, but we know you're away, Sean, at a conference. And so I definitely, I ain't going to fuss because we got you here. And I thought it was important, Sean, to ask you to come in, one, because of your relationship. And then two, I'm going to air the last episode where you and Bum sat together with Donnell, and Anthony Davis and Quincy. And so I just wanted to offer you some time as someone that is a colleague and friend of Leroy Bum Peeples to just share whatever it is you would like to share. I did tell the audience you're away, but thank you for making the sacrifice to share some just thoughts, condolences, and memories and his impact with us today. Sean?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Awesome. Good morning, King. First, I just want to start by sending my thoughts and prayers to, yes, can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Awesome. First, I just want to start by sending thoughts and prayers to Leroy's family, his kids and grandchildren. I also want to send thoughts and prayers to Coach Beef, Hurst, Bedell, and all the entire Eagles family. My heart hurts for the countless young people's lives that the King touched, right? We are all hurting. When my wife gave me the message this weekend, I just froze. And I'm still processing it. I want to thank Coach Hurst, Beefy, right, for providing the space yesterday for our community to mourn and pay homage to a legend. I think about the countless conversations that Leroy, myself, Greg Hill, many of the guys who were in the space of doing this work used to just have about how we can change the narrative, right? How we can change the narrative and how our young kings are seen in today's society. My relationship in this work goes back to early 2000s with Leroy when I was running my nonprofit Diamond Educators Mentoring. He had founded PIM. We used to build and just strategize on what are innovative ways, right? We can just take young men out of the community, right? I remember a time when Bum was looking at buying a property and a home for these young kings, right? I remember that was me, him, and Greg, right? And others, right? Just looking at these spaces, man. And remember being in DYS building with these young kings. And I often talk about, right, there's a difference between interest and commitment, right? When you're interested, you do it when it's convenient. When you're committed, you do it by any means necessary. And Leroy was committed to this work, right? He was committed to his family. He was committed to his kids. For me, whenever I'm evaluating a relationship, right, with a man, for me, or my respect for a man is how does he treat women? How does he treat his family? And how does he treat his kids? And the King, right, modeled what it meant to respect your wife, love your kids, and love your community. So I'm forever grateful to have had the opportunity to be in the space with the King. We say and we use the word or throw the word legend out loosely, but truly when it comes to this work, the King was a legend. I remember our recent conversation. He was away at a conference, and I was connecting him with my people in Chicago, right, around just the gang violence and things of that nature. And I remember when he was at the conference, he sent me a picture of him and my national director, and just was like, King, I'm connected with your people. And anytime someone called me when it came to that space of work, Leroy was the first one that that just came to mind for me. I know Charmaine had posted something in the post earlier, right? When she reached out to me about speaking to a bunch of young people, Leroy was the first name, right, that came from me, man. So I just, again, want to just send my regards to his family, his wife, and his kids. And I'm honored to have known the King and what's important, right? I heard legacy is important. How do we continue to carry this King's legacy, right? And not just talk about it for, right, a couple of weeks, couple of days, right? But how do we continue to do this work? I just heard the Queen come on before and say, right, we got work to do. Leroy was always doing the work, right? He didn't consider it to be work. We talked about loving what we do, right? Not waking up every day, not feeling like we're working, and that's what Leroy carried, right? So we got big shoes to fill, right? And I'm committed to supporting the King and continuing his legacy. And with that, amen.
Sean, may I ask you, I know you, and anyone that observes and can discern, tone of voice and things, there was a moment there where you paused, where real emotion hit. At the end of this dedication, I'm going to play the episode where you and Leroy and some other brothers had real conversations about the work, but then also talked about something that, called emotions. I can't have you in this space with sensitivity, and thank you for just allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And in that episode, you said in 2023, you was like, Jimmy, I cried more in the last 5 years than I cried in my, but sir. And so while I have you here, can I just ask you, what message is it that you would send to men right now that are dealing with Bob Terrell, Flash Wiley, Brother Reginald St. Bryce? Our men are dealing, and there's a wide range of ages in men, it's particularly to Bum. What is it that you would say to men about acknowledging, handling, and their emotional space? Yes, sir.
Jim, thank you for that. First thing I'll say, it's okay to not be okay, right? And that's okay. It's okay to show emotions. You're right. I tell people I've cried more in the past 5 years than I have in my entire life, and I'm okay with that, right? Crying is healing of the soul. So I say to all the kings out there, right? Check on your people. Have a conversation. You're not alone. You might be sitting in a space, feeling like there's no one I can talk to, or, you have this, we all have this thing called ego, right? And it's okay, kings, right? It's okay to let it go, right? It's okay to, talk to someone else. I can promise you someone is going through the same experiences that you're going through right now, right? So be free, be comfortable with the uncomfortable, and it's okay not to be okay. I encourage you to talk to anyone, talk to someone. And right, for me, it's always God first, right? It's God first. It's, having spiritual mentors, right? Having my therapist, having my wife to be able to talk to, and just being able to release that. So that's what I offer to young kings, right? Is just to talk about it, right? Not hold it in, not keep your emotions in, right? We're not too strong to show our emotions. And, I know I've been in spaces with Bum where, right, he has been vulnerable and just talked about things, right? Creating a safe space and a safe container. Get with those people who you can trust, right? Who's going to provide you the space to speak freely about your emotions and feelings. So, Jimmy, thank you for that. Again, just honored to be in the space to say a couple of words about the king. And just sending, again, my condolences to his family, to his wife, his kids, and to the world who was hurting because the king touched folks way beyond the city of Boston.
And thank you for that, Sean. I've been naming, and I think you as a husband get this, and your wife does as well, that Kim and his family sacrificed and allowed him to be available to community, not just in Boston. And I said City Hall and the State House, but I wondered, and thank you for clarifying, that it was global. He's a great contributor to one of the country's number one lowest numbers in issues of violence and whatnot. And so his consistency must be named. Sean, I honor you. Thank you for taking the time while away. Thank you for your vulnerability, and thank you for your wisdom and guidance that you give to young people all the time and shared with our kings today. As you often say, Ashe, and then we have to, in this space, also be willing to do ruthless. Tell me.
Ruthless self-examination. Absolutely, King.
That is
listen, hurt people, right?
Yes,
and I'll end on this, right? Hurt people, and we have too many hurt people who have been charged with healing and dealing with our young people and haven't done their work themselves. So I offer that to you all, right? Before we can heal young people, we got to do our own work, right? So for me, it's about ruthless self-examination, right? Looking at my trauma, looking at my baggage, knowing that I have a shadow, right? But what's important is keeping that shadow in front of me so it doesn't trip me up. When it gets behind me, it's when I start to trip up, right? But also have accountability partners who can hold you accountable, hold the mirror up to you, right? When your blind spots are present. So that was something else that I enjoyed with the king, right? He was never above, right, being held accountable and having hard conversations with his peers, right? If he was wrong, he acknowledged it. He took accountability. It's just so much to talk about the king. And I know you got a lot of calls, King, coming in, right? But It's just that piece. What I will say to everyone is, God bless you all. Create a blessed day. Continue to carry Leroy's legacy.
Brother Sean, thank you, man. Safe travels, and we'll be in contact. And if you need me, I'm here.
Ashe. Be
All right.
blessed.
Thank you, brother. Folks, that was Brother Sean Brown from Becoming a Man and also Becoming a Woman Youth Guidance Program. I got a text from someone. We are going to open the phone lines, but someone did text me to they wanted to get on as well. And that is Brother Jamal Wernham, who in the same vein, and it's just interesting because I'll tell you after Jamal hangs up.
Hello?
Brother Jamal.
Hey, what's going on, brother? Peace.
Now, Jamal, you, sir, first of all, peace. Thank you. Anyone that knows you don't willingly get on a phone, on a show, on a mic. A couple of times I had you on the show. First time it was like pulling teeth. So I got to name the fact that you reached out and said, yo, how do I call in? It says a lot about the impact that this man has had on your life. And so I'm going to shut up and give you space, sir, to say whatever it is that you would like to say.
See, appreciate you too, man. My connection to Bum was through the Street Worker SOAR program, right? So a lot of people know, some people don't know, right? I'm a convicted felon. So when I had this opportunity to come into this space and work for the city and, be there for young people, I had no idea how to do it and still keep my integrity, if that makes sense, right? A lot of years, just trying to get jobs, Corey. So when I came into the street worker job, immediately I seen brothers like Bum and I seen brothers like Hers from DC and Dana. And so I knew that I was going to be able to still keep that integrity and still work and still help. But with Bum, it was just different. Like Bum just navigated and he made connections and he had no days off and he's with the police, he's with the DAs and that's how I really knew I can do this work. Right? By seeing him and seeing him work and seeing his presence, man. And my 8 years was different than a lot, man. I was always in good spaces with everybody, right? So Bum being one of them, and it was just always love, man. So our connection was strictly through that and me seeing how I could still keep that integrity, if that makes sense, but still do the work, right? So when I put that comment, he was 101 and his energy was different. It's that real, you know what I'm saying?
I do.
And I'm gonna end it with this because I know there's a bunch of people coming. One of the most important things that I hope that brothers with felonies and records can take from this is that there's room for us in this work. There's room for us in this space. There's a seat for us.
Jamal, let me ask you, us. Define us, sir. What do you mean us?
People with records.
Yep.
People that have been incarcerated.
This was part of his message, so let's go there.
They give them names like returning citizens and all these phrases. But at the end of the day, we was, the ones that got nothing. And now we're trying to give back. Man, it's not always easy, but I made it to where those people be comfortable, invite us to that space. So I say that to say this. We have an opportunity to fill shoes. Experience matters, representation matters. Seeing our brother in that space, a lot of people know where he came from. It didn't matter. He knew how to do it, and he did it with love, and he did it with care, he did it for the kids. And there's a lot of us in that space and don't know how, or don't know if it's doable, or don't know if we'll be accepted or be authentic. It's not how phony he gets in that space.
Yes, sir.
But I'm here to say this. It can happen. And we're needed more than ever now. That's real talk.
Jamal, you heard what Nika said. I wanted to thank you because I know the role that you've played in his life. And I don't think you would disagree. You just said it, that his influence on you, I got a personal connection that it's helped someone that I'm personally connected to. And so I did not realize, Jamal, the way you articulated that. We know about the young people. We know about, those incarcerated when they come home and whatnot. But specifically as someone who is real about their past, but has come home and become an executive director and is actively day to day living this, there's a lot of similarities between you and Bum. And I would venture to say that, as you said, he definitely was an influence. And thank you for naming that brothers in the space that have come home, the inspiration he gave specifically to those that want to excuse the vernacular, but we're brothers that want to flip and do the work. You know what I'm saying? You articulating it is just a whole nother our awareness of his impact.
Sure. There's tons of brothers, sisters. I just don't know how to get into that space. There's brothers in that space now, don't know how to get to that next level. Bum had it all. And 8 years working with street workers, man.
Jamal, I don't know if you're watching, but if you can see the way I looked in the camera.
Listen, I thought I was 24. I thought, man, yo, he was everywhere. He's in the courts. He's on the block. He's at the juvenile, right? He's a superior. He's over here. He's at this, that. It's like, whoa. And you step back and you're like, damn, am I doing enough? Because he's doing that and still making it look. And I want to say this too. I never told him this, but one thing I admired was just how that whole crew of just brothers from back in the day, how they just came together and broke bread, man. Like, some people take that as nothing, but someone that grew up in that street and just seeing these dudes that made it and survived, and they just, man, that's everything to us, man. And that's what that was. That's what we need to continue. We need to continue to break this bread and continue to work and continue to be there for these young people, right? If nothing else, take that message that Nika said, because she keeps it 1,000 every trip. And what she said was real. Every situation ain't for everybody. Some situations you need the trenchers to get underneath. And if you're not comfortable, it's not going to happen. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And I got to remember where our focus is today, because I got to be real about the fact that at least 2 or 3 times the gap. And I'm aware of a lot of influence that Bum had on policy. And so it is definitely real. Before you go, Jamal, I wanted to share Sean's message to you. He said, Ashe, brother Jamal, Leroy's advocacy for the 1% who don't always have representation was unmatched. And that is it. I just wanted to pause and say also, you and I.
Sean, peace too, man. Man, I love for Sean too. A lot of love for that brother, man.
Absolutely. He was around. I remember when he was in Diamond Educators, waltzing those boys into different meetings and a line and just keeping them together. So both of your consistency is appreciated and needed. And, Jamal, I thank you for your transparency today. Again, this ain't you. You doing better. And this is me and Jamal. This is Jamal and I's joke, and we got to have these light moments. But a few years ago, Jamal was posting, I don't do too well with these selfies. And now he's out here modeling.
Yeah, listen, man, this I appreciate that, but this is for the big homies. So at the end of the day, I can't, stress to these young people to step outside their comfort zones if I'm not doing it, right?
Yep.
Like this this is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm just in it. And when you in it, you don't take a step back to be like, yo, I learned that from you. Thank you. Like there's so much that I learned from that brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and
sir.
there's a lot of reasons why I'm moving the way I move now, just by seeing how him and them brothers did it and their background, man. So salute to that brother, his family, his wife, kids, all the above, man.
Jamal, thank you for calling in, sir. And
Appreciate
you know I'm here, and we'll check in.
Peace.
Thank you, bro. Folks, that was Brother Jamal from One Love Sports Academy. We are I'm going to hold this space as long as you all are here, and so we are going to get ready to open the phone lines to take calls if people would like to come in. We are not asking you to preach a sermon or a whole paragraph, but if there is something that you would like to personally share about your experience with Leroy Peeples, please feel free to do so. And we will take your call. We will take your call. We just ask for your patience. I wanted to go to one other point as we're getting ready to take calls. And once I start the video, don't call, wait till the video is over, just the way things are set up here. But there's another part of the video where Bum had come on with SOAR in 2021. And it just goes to what Jamal talked about, representation matters. The way that Leroy spoke to, informed, and held the ear and people captive is just amazing. And so here is an example of that, him still doing it as well. And so here we go with another snippet from Bum sharing his well-informed knowledge in this space.
The stuff that we're always looking for, oh, they got guns, oh, they got this, they got this. These young people are brilliant. They really are. They're brilliant. They're smart. They're entrepreneurs. They're videographers. They're artists. Like, they're mechanics. Mm-hmm. Like these young, they're brilliant. And all I want to see is that come out, right? I want to see that front and center instead of what we focus on so much, right? Is all the negative stuff.
Yes. And what are you going to do for self-care this weekend? I know you're going to be working or prep for this weekend.
I don't think I can say it on the live, but
okay.
I'm just going to speed this up a little bit to Brother Bum.
And loved ones need to be aware of. And then, talk about or give your closing remarks. And then what are you going to do for self-care?
Well, let me just thank you personally, James. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity for the platform, man. I've been watching you, following you for years, brother. So, kudos to what you're doing and your growth. I think that, again, we're in a different space, right? And I think that parents need to listen to their kids, right? I think that the kids are talking to them, but I don't think that we're fully listening to them. Like, it's extremely challenging for a young person to just navigate through Boston, through all types of memes of whatever they're going. It's hard to fit in. Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard to fit in. And if you don't know, like school used to be cool, right? And then something happened to where we would pick on our athletes, or we would, you heard my dog, or we would pick on kids who are not involved. And I feel like being a parent, you have to look for the signs, right? Like, look at your child's social media, right? Like, I look at my kids' social media. I go in my kids' rooms. I look at the pictures that they post. I watch who they hang with, and there was a article that was written. I just seen it somewhere where it was basically showing, like, I think David might even shared it in a group. It basically said, like, with Bobby Shmurda, like, are we a gang if we've been together since the sandbox? Like, if these are my friends from elementary school until full grown, and we hang together, we stay together, are we a gang or are we just tight-knit friends? You know what I mean? So it's the lines are getting blurred, and that's what young people don't understand is you have to be mindful of your actions, because it'll get defined for you. You know that you're project born and project raised and y'all are all friends, but one gun in a car could change that whole narrative to a gang. Now you're a gang member, right? And then there's different laws that come with gang members. So I think we just gotta educate, and I think our parents gotta be educated as well, and know what it looked like. I'm dealing with young people shot like every day, and you know what services are those victims getting, and what things are being put in place so that they don't have the pressure of the community in the neighborhood to retaliate, right? It's just so much I think that parents can look out for and do and be a part. SOAR is just one scratch of the surface, right? We're not, James, we don't have the capacity to solve this, so we have to partner. And in that partnership, I think parents are at the top of the list of that partnership, because I made a thing yesterday where I noticed how there was some very influential young people in the community that had more power over our kids than we do. So my thing is, okay, well, you can't get mad at them, you can't attack them. So what do? My thing is, go talk to that person with the influence and ask, like, hey, listen, if he's looking up to you or if she's looking up to you, can you at least ask him or have him try to do this? That's where that village really comes in at. We can't get mad at the young person that got more influence over our kid than us. We got to figure out how to coexist and talk to that young. Like, I want to drop a name so bad because I watched these young dudes and their power and influence over the younger generation is amazing. They're just using it wrong. So we have to support them to be able to guide this thing right. James, I know what I'm talking about. See, I have success. And you have success. I mean, I didn't turn straight shooters into carpenters, straight shooters into plumbers. How? They need an opportunity. People don't wake up every day and want to shoot, like, and then we like guns. Some of these kids, if they didn't have a gun, they would be dead. Right? It's just what it is. I think we just got to deal with it head on. And to Leah's point, these young people are brilliant. They need opportunity. We as adults and parents and service providers, we got to do a better job at providing them opportunity. They'll take it. They have proven that they'll take the opportunity if they're safe, if they can have a comfortable place to sleep and not be harmed. They'll do what we need them to do. We have to provide that for them.
But Leroy, Reverend, I thought David was going to come with.
Sorry about that. We got the tech back. Nothing about his message about those that he served through the years changed. We're going to open up the phone lines for just a couple of seconds. 617-999-7798 if you would like to call and pay tribute or honor to Leroy Peeples. I wanted to let you all know that at the end of today's episode, we're going to air the Checking In with Black Men episode along with Leroy, Darnell Singleton, Anthony Davis, and Sean Brown. We had a conversation about Black men. The reason I'm showing that, I was just going to show the clips from Leroy, but our men are dealing. I just named 3 other men that transitioned. Life is lifing. Generally, in a larger scope, our Black community as a whole is under attack. And all that comes with that, with being a man, a Black man in this community, is real. And so I want to be intentional about showing that episode at right after the dedications today. I'm not going to hold the phone lines for long. I just wanted to open them up to allow the people the opportunity to call in if they would like. And James Mackey, my fellow commissioner on the Black Men and Boys Commission, who oversees the public safety component and subcommittee, Leroy Peeples Jr. turned straight shooters into carpenters and plumbers. And to Jamal's point, You can't infiltrate a system if you're not a part of it and know how to navigate in it. And he was very skilled at that. And not everybody understood how he did it and how he did the impact. But trust and believe he did. And I'll leave that alone. He speaks truth to power straight with absolutely no chaser. Always did. Always did. And that's the thing. And the reason why anything that I was texting and pushing, well, publicly before and then a little privately more now, yo, Jimmy. Okay, I would add this and then, but you're right. And the spot on here at this point, that man knew the work and what he was doing and had impact. With that being said, the note of my other commissioner in the room, I'm going to be honest, in real time. Part of me wonders if I should just share the video at noon in a different episode or continue it here. I'll be glad to take you all's feedback. Should I just show the episode starting when I just kind of wrap up here? Or should I just start a new midday Java at 12 noon and just show the video? You all let me know. And I will we'll go with the majority of what the feedback is here. But again, we would be remiss if we did not acknowledge there's a lot of community sharing their grief and mourning for Brother Bum. And the family has to have their time and do how they want to, when they want to. And so we definitely are naming that, but them also seeing the impact that their husband, father, and grandfather had on community. Asia said share it at noon. That'll give me a little bit of break. That'll be fine. What I will do is share a clip from it, and then I'll share the whole episode at noon. We will not be active. You all will be able to come. Well, we'll be active. We'll be here to share comments. And all right, Miss Teresa also said midday at 12 o'clock. All right, so we're going to get ready to break. Reverend Amani, thank you. And I'm seeing okay, so Boston Statesman the plug over on Instagram said Grand Rising to you as well. Said noon as well. And so okay. We have consensus. We're going to take a break and come back at noon. Thank you all. Heard. Breathe, rest, and drink water, James. See, I am. And I want to thank the people that have reached out and just said, hey, how are you handling this? This is one thing that Bum and I did together. It picked up a lot in 2020. But this is what we did and do. So I will say I saw, some chatter on social media. All I will say is he believed in, I was inboxing with brother Skinny Steve. That's his name on social media. And I told him, take care of yourself and, self-care. And he said, that's what Bum always told me to do. So it's important, Black men, in that space that he moved, having that support to offload things. Uncle Thaddeus. There's just some people used to seeing Uncle Thaddeus's name is like a big old hug. Even this knucklehead here. Oh, no, not my mother. I'm sorry. No. The comments moved up. Domingo. Even this knucklehead here. He has his way of being comforting at times. Hi, Mingo. But this man right here. At Thaddeus, I was just sharing it. We was together last Wednesday, and he was one thing I'll tell you about Bum, and it challenged me a little bit. He practiced what he preached. Thaddeus can affirm. And then I got a call the other day that they was like, oh, I seen Bum the other night too. And Uncle Thaddeus, they were out chilling that evening. He was practicing what he preached in that post on February 4th. Our brother left us these words, his reminder, his truth. This thing called life is short. Have some fun. My God, today. And we are Bum. If we didn't do it for our own motive, and I'll be real, it his transition has made me think differently about a few things. Health, self-care, and moving effectively no matter what people say. That's one thing that man. Let me just share this real quick, and this will surmise it for those that need the summation. Shout out to the good Reverend Brother Donald Maurice that put up a post in dedication of Brother Bum the other day. And it just resonated so much with me because I'm just going to read what he says and you'll understand, because that brother did the work and did not let the noise deter him. Now, Brother Donald Maurice does a lot of preaching. Jesus, Lord, I got to find the post. Here it is. And it's actually a picture of, now I did it last week and I told you I was going to try to do better, but it is Bumhurst Donald. That's all I can make out there. I don't know who that is on the side, but it's them in prayer. Bum was dedicated to the work, and this is how I'll just say it the way Reverend Donald Maurice said it. No good deed is without some form of controversy, but that never deterred Leroy. Let that be said. All right, we're going to get ready to wrap up. You all did self-care. Yeah. Mama G. If you all don't know who she is Sister Sissy Gerald, the wife of Pastor Emeritus Arthur T. Gerald at the historic 12th Baptist Church. And she said also to 12 o'clock, self-care, mental and physical. Yes, ma'am. 12 o'clock. Yes, Mama G. Boston Statesman, the plug says, that's my new goal, mental health. Absolutely. Sheik, good to see you in the room. He was there. He called me, checked on us. Good dude. Absolutely. Miss Teresa said, self-care. Jay, I'll be checking. Please don't make me sick. Goodbye. Tara, I want to, Tara, I want to especially name you. There are a lot of people that worked in the space with Bum in trauma response, and Tara is one of them. And so Tara, naming you as well, sending love and support your way. Domingo said, good morning, James. Good to know Bum doing the youth work and coaching. Great father. Absolutely. And so with the point of you all saying to take the break, we're going to get ready to wrap up now. I will play this song and then we will come back at 12 noon. And I would encourage you all, it's a holiday. Encourage some brothers that you know are just dealing with life. And also, I don't know why this is standing out to me, the brothers that are dealing with just celebrating the life of Brother St. Bryce while getting the news that Bum transitioned as well. And that group of men right now is really in my heart. And so a lot of what we're going to show at 12 o'clock directly covers men dealing with emotions. And it's definitely going to feature, Leroy. But there's a lot of nuggets in there for men that can be applicable to this immediate, what we're dealing with, and also in life. And that's one thing that Bum was dedicated to, a consistent flow of life that was healthy. And you will hear that in this episode at 12. And so we're going to get ready. Can you tag us so we can pass it on? So if you're on Facebook, Boston Statesman, hit me somehow. I cannot tag the live on Instagram. I can't invite y'all on Instagram. And so thanks for your media. Oh, thank you, brother. All right, I'm going to wrap up, but you should get a notification when we go live to Uncle Thaddeus. And for the first few words I see, I think I'm about to get in trouble. Self-care is how we hold ourselves up. Aftercare is how we put ourselves back together. Both are needed, especially now. Thank you. Self-care is how we hold ourselves up. Aftercare is how we put ourselves. This is good in reference to some things I heard from Shay Rose at a panel sponsored by the Black Employees Network last week, where we were talking about self-care. And that woman said, your values should inform your self-care. the ouch that came out of my spirit was like, oh. So, Kareem, good to see you in the building over on Instagram. All right, folks, we're going to go take this break. We'll be back at 12 noon live today. And to Sharon's, to Thaddeus's point, words matter. And aftercare, self-care is the maintenance. And to Shay's point, she said, I think a lot of us are doing better at a maintenance of self-care. But a lot of times we focus on it in crisis and what are you doing in self-care and how are you handling? Nah, we got to try to develop a consistent life. That way, when crises come up, the other thing she said, and I'll go. What I heard from her was we need to develop relationships with the triggers. Bill, late Bill coming. What's up, Bill? Yep, you there knocking. I can't answer the door right now. I might open it and sneak a little bit, put something on it outside in a week or so. But okay, you're there. I know you're outside. Cool. Depression. There you go. Yeah, I feel a little low, but I'm gonna, my plan to respond to you is to call somebody and get some joy. Being intentional in self-care, not afraid of these things coming up, but having a plan and tools in place for when they do, and consistently self-caring. Listen, I ain't there, but it's a goal and a road. So we'll be back at 12 o'clock. Remember, folks, check on your people, especially now, to Thaddeus's point. And so we'll see you guys at 12 o'clock, and I will we'll be back at 12 noon. We'll leave you with this note. For those of you that may not be able to come back at noon, men, I'm encouraging you, especially ladies, men, uncles, aunts, sisters, brothers, to tag some men when we go on with that and have them try to listen. And there's the after watch that they can go back and watch after. All right. Peace, joy, and hair grease. No, peace. And again, to the Peeples family, Bum's immediate circle, there were some names, and this is one I won't say I won't care, but to Aisha, to Beefy, to Hearst, to the other coaches on the Pop Warner team, to all of the street workers, to old heads from the Source days, to, the rap industry here in the city of Boston, to the nightlife industry here in the city of Boston, to youth workers in the city of Boston, to trauma response people in the city of Boston and beyond, to younger, the Mighty Mites, the PIM young people, to my nephew and his teammates, to the varied, multifaceted, and disciplined, wide variety of human beings, systems, entities, and structures that were impacted by a committed, dedicated man that knew those that he served. In that, may God's peace and the peace that he fought for be with y'all.
May his peace be with you till we meet again. May his peace be with you till we meet again. Till we